Hello everyone, and welcome to our webinar, Mac Management for Beginners. Thanks for joining us. As everyone is still getting settled in, we'll just go over a few housekeeping items. Please think of questions throughout the webinar and direct them to the Q&A section. We'll be answering them at the end of this webinar. And this webinar will be recorded, and we're going to share the recording with you shortly after the webinar is finished. If we don't get to all your questions, we'll follow up with you afterwards. Reaching out to info@jamf.com will also get you in contact with someone at Jamf quickly. My name is Matt Pullen. I'm the Senior Product Marketing Manager for Education here at Jamf. And before we dig into today's content, here's a quick look at our agenda. We will provide a quick overview of Jamf for those who are new and haven't yet worked with us. And then we'll dive into today's topic. An introduction of Apple solutions and programs to streamline support in managing Macs, followed by an introduction to Mac management. We will then take a deeper dive into each section of managing Macs. And finally, throughout the presentation, we will cover best practices so you can get started with managing Macs today. So let's take a look at an overview of Jamf. Our mission is simple: help organizations succeed with Apple. Jamf was founded over 20 years ago with that one goal in mind. And we're here to help elevate and enhance the Apple experience in the workplace for IT and end users alike. We focus exclusively on supporting Apple hardware. And since Jamf focuses solely on Apple, this allows our customers to have best-in-class support and more features that speak directly to the Apple platform. Jamf's Apple Enterprise Management Solutions are here to help organizations connect, manage, and protect Apple devices. In today's webinar, we'll be diving into many of the challenges that enterprise faces when it comes to securely connecting users to resources, efficiently managing devices and apps, and protecting data, devices, and privacy. We'll discuss solutions to those challenges with a combination of our three enterprise-focused products: Jamf Pro, Jamf Connect, and Jamf Protect. And we have a history of providing same-day support for new operating systems and services. This ensures end users can take advantage of new Apple capabilities the day they are available. Here you can see our track record. Anytime Apple has a new operating system release, we're not only ready same day, but our customers can pre-test the new operating system in their environment as well, since we can offer betas. Because we have same-day operating system support, your IT team can deploy or end users can upgrade to the newest operating system without penalty. Or if your organization is not ready, that's okay. Because with Jamf, IT has the ability to postpone the upgrades until the time is right after further testing. Regardless of when your team is ready to upgrade, we will be right there for you. So let's talk about mobile device management, also known as MDM. Apple devices can understand and apply settings like passcode restrictions to devices thanks to the built-in MDM framework. Essentially, MDM means providing a way for you to have admin rights for devices used for work. The two main components are configuration profiles and management commands. Configuration profiles define various settings and tell a device how to behave and are used to automate things like configuring passcode settings or Wi-Fi passwords. Management commands are singular commands that you can send to your managed devices to make specific actions. For example, if a device has gone missing, you can put it into lost mode or send a remote wipe command. Finally, there's Apple Push Notification Service, which is how the above components communicate to the device. We'll discuss APNs in more detail in a few slides. But let's dig a little more into MDM for Macs. Now, since macOS is a more robust platform than iOS or iPadOS, it may require more advanced functionality. Client management, which is only available for macOS, allows you to install a Mac agent, also known as a binary. A binary gets installed after device enrolment for both new or existing devices already in use. It creates hidden admin accounts, giving IT full admin rights without having to physically be in front of the device. It allows for more policies and scripts to run on that computer. So now that we have a basic understanding of MDM, let's put our focus onto Apple services and programs. This is a key element to being successful in managing and supporting Macs. There are 3 solutions Apple has that we want to talk about today, all of which are free. Apple Push Notification Service, Apple Business Manager, and Apple School Manager. Earlier, I mentioned APNs. So what exactly is APNs? It's a delivery method for communications sent to apps. Think push notifications. Every Apple device talks to Apple's push notification service, company-owned or personally owned. APNs is kept private to your organization by obtaining a secure certificate from Apple. Apple's server then maintains a constant connection to devices, so you don't have to. Devices communicate back to your management server, like Jamf Pro, and receive commands, settings, configurations, or apps. When a device is enrolled into Jamf Pro, the device not only talks to Apple's push notification service, it changes the device and puts the Jamf profile on the device, as it's talking to our server too. So if we're managing a device, that's how we get apps, email settings, Wi-Fi settings, permissions, restrictions, you name it. This will give you admin rights to the device and can be changed in real time, as long as there's an internet connection. Device enrolment, which automatically enrolls and manages devices into Jamf right out of the box, while unlocking additional management features with Supervision. Apps and books help organizations easily purchase and distribute apps in bulk. If you're currently managing personal Apple IDs, reimbursing employees for purchasing an app with their own credit card, or worried about app security and data that's work-related, this is essential. It eliminates the need for managing personal or multiple Apple IDs because the program functions as one Apple ID to rule them all and as a company app store. So for anyone part of Help Desk, going through Apple Business Manager is going to be very helpful for streamlining app purchasing and automated MDM enrollment. On the left side of this, underneath automated MDM enrollment, is supervising devices, which I'd like to highlight further. Think of Jamf giving you admin rights over the Apple devices, but when a device has been supervised and purchased through Apple Business Manager, it unlocks an additional layer of admin rights and security features that become available in Jamf. It changes the DNA of the device, saying, hang on, an organization owns this device, not the employee that's using it. Therefore, organizations should have more admin rights. So if you want to make sure the MDM profile can perhaps never be removed by an employee, or if an employee signs in with a personal Apple ID, you want to make sure you don't get locked out. Supervision via Apple Business or School Manager is key. And with Jamf Pro into the mix, this is really helpful. Alright, let's dig into Mac management then. You will undoubtedly have questions surrounding Mac management, or even around management as a whole. Important questions like, how do we roll our Macs out? How are we going to manage them? How do we make sure our Macs and environment are secure? And how do we support our Macs, our teams, and our end users? These are the items you should be thinking about. What we see here is the overall life cycle of managing Macs with Jamf Pro. Deployment and provisioning, setting up the device and getting it to the end user. Configuration management, or applying the correct settings to devices. App management, ensuring the correct software and apps are on each device. Inventory, reporting on the status of each device and its software. Security, making sure devices are up to organizational standards. And end user empowerment, providing users self-help when they require resources and services. We'll walk through each of these sections in more detail. So let's talk about device deployment. What you see here is an example of a traditional provisioning workflow which requires IT to manually touch and configure the device. In other words, IT unboxes each device one by one, then IT preloads the image, puts a profile on the Mac, stores the device away in storage, and finally at some point gives the device to the end user. This is a time-consuming and labour-intensive method to set up the device and not required for managing Macs. And why is that? Because of automated device enrolment with Apple Business Manager or School Manager. This automated enrolment process allows you to configure any Mac purchase with Apple or an Apple authorized reseller and customize each device for your users, all without ever having to touch the device. Hardware purchases are associated with your Apple customer number or reseller ID and automatically enroll a device into management under an Apple management solution. Automated device enrolment enables you to provide a great zero-touch experience for end users. They simply open up the box, turn on the device, and get to work, whether your employees are on site or remote. What we see here is a brand new device from the end user's perspective, getting unboxed and turned on for the first time. The end user is going through that normal device setup, selecting their language, connecting to the internet, etc. As this is the beginning of their Mac, it's talking to the Apple's pushing notification server and Jamf Pro. The device is getting automatically enrolled, no additional interaction needed. It's recognizing this is a company-owned device and applying the MDM settings pre-arranged in Jamf Pro. We skipped a bunch of setups, saved a bunch of setup time here, and we're now ready at the main screen. What we're seeing here is the power of Jamf Pro, Apple Business Manager, and Apple's push notification server in action. This is the power of zero-touch enrolment. Now, to recap, this is the workflow that we just saw. This takes out the manual labour for a brand new device. The device turns on, it talks to Apple's push notification service, we see the remote management notification, which means the device is talking to Jamf Pro, and then finally permissions, restrictions and applications all come down over the cloud, which was pre-approved by IT. This is the preferred way to enroll new devices out of the box. However, sometimes a user will already have a device that needs to be enrolled. For that option, there is also user-initiated enrolment. With this enrolment type, a user will enroll their Mac by visiting a URL that your MDM server creates. User-initiated enrolment is best in bring your own device programs, or if automatic device zero-touch enrolment is not an option. The next area we'll look at then is configuration management. This is where you can personalize and tailor individual devices or groups of devices based on the needs of your end users. We have configuration profiles, policies, smart targeting, and scripts. Configuration profiles are small XML files that you create and distribute to devices. These profiles tell the device what to do, like applying Wi-Fi or email settings. Next, we have policies, which are unique to the macOS client management. Why are policies so important? Because they go beyond basic device management capabilities of MDM configuration profiles and help IT install customer software and printers, manage local user accounts, and conduct advanced management workflows. We also want to touch upon smart targeting, which collects inventory details, including custom inventory attributes that you define for all managed devices. This helps with a number of vital topics for your devices, like which devices require software updates. Depending on your MDM, you can build groups based on inventory criteria and then trigger device management tasks automatically to specific individuals or groups. Finally, we have scripts, which are actually part of policies. The ability to run scripts provides more flexibility than standard configuration profiles and brings about an infinite number of device management capabilities. Earlier we talked about Apple Business Manager. Now let's see how Apple Business Manager and Jamf Pro work together with the volume purchasing of apps and books for app management and distribution. Let's go through a demo. What we're seeing here is the Jamf Pro interface. We have direct integration built in with Apple's volume purchasing of apps and books. So I'm going to search for a Microsoft app that I want to deploy, and it's bringing up options. I choose Microsoft OneNote, and I can put it into a site, and I can categorize it in self-service. I can also make sure Jamf Pro is automatically looking for the latest versions. I can make it available in the self-help tool, or I can install it automatically. I can put it out there for everybody, a group of users, or a specific computer. And I can choose different options, such as having a description. I can even ensure that users view the description if I wish. You can really customize a lot of things here. Where do your apps come from? Often, the answer is a mix of locations, like the App Store, vendor-sourced installer packages, or manually created package files. Every Apple user will be familiar with the App Store. Not only does the App Store offer millions of applications, it's paired seamlessly with Apple Business Manager, Apple School Manager, and your MDM, like Jamf. Vendor-sourced installer packages can be downloaded from an independent developer and then uploaded for delivery through a policy within Jamf Pro. It should be noted that not all vendors make their installers the same or use .pkg files. Some vendors will place an application file within a disk image .dmg, which then requires additional work for an IT administrator to process and then convert it to a .pkg file. Jamf Composer is one such method to accomplish a package manually. Let's break down vendor-sourced apps a little more. What you see here is the workflow for vendor-sourced apps. For custom software deployments and apps outside of the App Store, you can use software like Composer to create a custom package. You then can upload that package to Jamf Pro and push it out to your Mac clients with the Jamf agent. Leveraging Apple Business Manager or Apple School Manager integrated with an MDM provider is the ideal foundation for anyone to purchase and deploy apps. Packages allow IT to package up an app, scope it to a device or profile, and deploy it through a policy. Using a policy, you can run scripts, manage accounts, and distribute software. When you create a policy, you specify the tasks you want to automate, how often it should run, when the policy should run, and the users and computers for which it should run to. Using app catalogs, like Jamf Pro's self-service, puts the onus on users to select the apps they need for their own success. This empowers users to work with their IT department and identify what apps they need to get the job done, while allowing IT to offer a full catalogue of approved options for their users. We'll talk more about app catalogs further in this presentation. We talked about apps and books earlier, which help organizations easily purchase and distribute apps in bulk. Apps can be reassigned as deployment needs change. Patch management is the process of updating software. This is for apps that are distributed outside of the App Store. Once third-party software is installed, you can automate the patching, or updating, of that software with Jamf's built-in patch management tools. Jamf Pro's patch management feature allows administrators to subscribe to an ongoing feed of software version data, empowering them with timely reporting of information, as well as the ability to take action and patch a device. This is what we're after, making the process of updating apps easy for you. So let's talk about some best practices with Jamf Pro for inventory of Macs. Reporting with Jamf can be done for any device enrolled, Mac, iOS, iPadOS, or Apple TV. For macOS inventory, you can collect data for a number of different levels. For hardware, you can collect data including device type, model serial number, battery level. For management, you can collect data like IP address, enrolment method, security status. And for software, you can collect data including OS version, apps installed, storage capacity, and available space. And you can collect data on additional details like certificate installed, purchasing information, or last inventory update, to name just a few. It's important to group and gather that data to help you have a bird's eye view of your technology. Jamf collects a wide range of inventory data that will help you build custom reports for the information that you care about. After all, you can't manage what you can't measure. Groups can be created for your Apple devices, and you can leverage inventory data to create those. We deal with two types of group, static groups and smart groups. Static groups are a defined group of devices that you can apply a profile or management policy. Static groups are great for a known group, like a classroom, lab, or a department. Smart groups work the other way around. They are dynamic and are always changing based on inventory data. You set a list of criteria, and Jamf Pro will dynamically search your inventory for matching devices. You can then set profiles or policies to run automatically based on membership of that group. Let's dig a little further into smart groups. With Jamf Pro, we actually have a pattern for your device reporting, meaning our reporting makes us unique. We leverage smart groups to give IT accurate information as it happens, allowing them to be proactive with information for their technology. And note, this is not pulling any personal information, so it's not looking at iMessages, for example. It's only looking at device information. Like Apple, privacy is of utmost importance to us. We want to make sure that IT has what they need from a device perspective to be proactive. Let's see some examples of smart groups and what we could offer. For example, if I want to see all the Macs in Apple Business Manager, maybe I want to see devices that haven't checked in a certain amount of time. I can determine the time frame, like 2 weeks, whatever I want to do. This is allowing me, as an admin, to become more proactive. In addition, you can even take that step further with custom fields or extension attributes, and here are just some examples. You can report on things like, I want to know the Macs that have not backed up with Druva in over 4 days, and allow myself to see which devices are not backing up. So let's pivot and talk about security. And a key element in managing Macs is leveraging Apple's native features to secure those devices. Jamf builds off the security foundation Apple already built into the device. With other devices, you might need a third-party solution to support it, whereas with the Mac, much of the security is already built into the macOS. So Macs really have many features built in natively. Firewall, Gatekeeper for apps signing in and authorization, XProtect, all those vital features that you need are already built in. Apple offers an incredibly secure platform, and even though much is already built in, you still need to manage it from an admin level. And that's where you could use Jamf Pro to manage and further support security. Let's see this in action. Here's the Jamf Pro console. I can require FireVault, or I can create recovery keys. I can require a user to unlock FireVault 2. I'm just clicking around here to show you. But this is an example of how I can use our encryption tools. I want to enable Firewall. It's just done with a click. And there are things I can customize if needed as well. And then Gatekeeper. Do I need to do anything here? Is there anything that I want to change? Again, I'm managing things built into that operating system from an admin level. Earlier, I mentioned policies with the Jamf agent to allow you to have tasks, and this is where we start to have that. So we have FireVault. Maybe I have a device that is not currently encrypted. I can imply disk configuration encryption remotely, so I can have it at that next login. I can issue a new recovery key, and I can do it at an institutional or individual level. I just want to make sure that should I see something, say, something not encrypted, I can take action, and I can apply it to a group of users or a specific user. And if needed, I can also customize messaging, so I can allow for a deferral if I don't want to disrupt people's workflow. And I can customize this to keep that end user experience in mind. Now let's look at the configuration profiles. This is really that collection of settings in MDM, and this is where we can also take that to the next level for security. So if we look at this example in the interface, I've got some restrictions. I can restrict items in system preferences on the Mac. Do I want to allow people to use camera? Do I want to allow iCloud Drive or some of these other consumer features like Find My Mac, Keychain, or iCloud? Maybe there are certain things within our organization we can't allow users to have access to. I can make those changes over the air with Jamf Pro. So whether the computer is in the office or in someone's home, if I ever need to change this at any time, I can keep that security moving forward and pivot with any changes, so long as there's an internet connection. And to further help with security beyond Jamf Pro and beyond the native tools in Apple, we also have Jamf Connect. Jamf Connect helps streamline Mac authentication and identity management. It gives users the ability to protect their Mac and their applications with a single identity. It requires a cloud identity, giving IT admins the ability to monitor who is accessing those devices and ensure a user's cloud identity passwords are synced down to the local level on their Mac. And Jamf Protect is an endpoint security solution purpose-built for Mac. It gives an organization's security teams the ability to really see security at a new level for their entire macOS fleets. With Jamf Protect, we help customers maintain endpoint compliance, prevent macOS malware, detect and remediate Mac-specific threats with minimal impact to the device and the end-user experience. Speaking of end users, let's move to our last topic of Mac management, user empowerment. After all, they're the ones who will be using these Macs day in and day out. Apple is well known, and rightly so, as having a best-in-class experience. At Jamf, we try to do the same, which is why we have something called self-service. Earlier we talked about app catalogs. What we see here is Jamf's self-service for Mac, our app catalog or self-help tool. This is branded and customizable app catalog with instant access to the resources, content, trusted apps that the user needs without having to submit a ticket to IT. An app catalog like self-service helps end users and IT alike. Why? Because a tool like self-service means less tickets for IT to solve and more productivity time to end users. IT can also integrate with directory services to personalize that content based on department, user role, location, and more. And they can automate common IT tasks like password resets. End users get to install software and apps themselves with a click of a button because IT pre-approved it and has set it all up. They are notified of any software updates. They can grab that in self-service, and since it is pre-programmed by IT, they can also install printer drivers or softwares, for example. Speaking of apps and software, your users, whether an employee or a student, interact with apps all day, every day. How users get apps can differ. We have silent installation, which happens at enrolment and comes outfitted with a device. Notifications, where admins can call out that updates is available via notifications, badges, and reminders. Admins can choose to give users the autonomy to update apps in their own time. And as an admin, you can still track which apps are installed within your fleet of devices and shift the strategy for a particular app if more management of updates needs to occur. Or admins may choose to install an application as soon as possible with no option for the user to defer the installation. Although this could be considered intrusive to the user, it is an important method when admins have an app with an important security update. Because of the potential interruption to a user, this method should be used wisely. One last thing we want to mention is Jamf Remote Assist. Jamf Remote Assist simplifies work by offering a modern and secure approach to an in-product remote screen sharing experience to assist end users and remotely manage their device fleet. Jamf Remote Assist strengthens management capabilities with Jamf Pro by providing admins with a modern, native experience to remotely assist those end users on macOS devices with troubleshooting steps, including access to device terminal to run commands, scripts, and policies. When an end user has a support issue, Jamf admins can securely initiate a Jamf Pro Remote Assist session to connect to the end user devices, even when the user is not on the internal network, all within the Jamf Pro UI, making it easy and secure to remotely manage devices within their fleet. Jamf Remote Assist is coming soon to Jamf Pro, so keep a lookout for this. Okay, so we've covered a lot of information. Let's just recap what we've talked about here. We've had a look through that overview of what Jamf offers within the space. We have that history of supporting industries, education establishments to make sure they get the best out of their devices. We've also deep dived into some of the Apple services and programs that are in place to make sure that that is all supported. And then we've taken a deep look into Mac management. highlighting all of those different approaches that you can get out of using an MDM to really support how you want those devices to be empowering to the end users. And finally, we've looked at some of those best practices, some ways that you can really make sure that that workflow is as simple and easy as possible for IT admins to make sure that their end user experience is absolutely what is expected. So let's chat about next steps. Jamf also offers more to help you be successful. Our professional services offer on-location or remote services to customize the Jamf for your environment. We also offer certification courses led by our training team. You can become an expert in Jamf and widen your skill sets. Finally, we have world-class support from Apple experts across the globe. We even offer 24/7 via our premium support packages. And we integrate with third-party tools too, such as Active Directory, Single Sign-On, SCCM, Cisco, ServiceNow, and we have our own API. As we talked about today, we integrate with Apple's programs and services, Apple Push Notification Service, Apple School Manager, automated MDM enrolment, and automated purchasing of Apple and books, making this a simple and seamless process. Of course, we are nothing without our customers, and that is proven with the Jamf Nation community. This online forum is home to over 100,000 Apple IT-focused individuals that learn from each other, discuss best practices, and have access to a wealth of resources and third-party tools. You can create a free account today and join in our discussion. And with Jamf Marketplace, we have tools and resources to help make that Jamf platform even more useful to our customers, and a developer portal which has enablement of our community to build tools and resources to help others. I want to thank you for joining us. I hope you learned something new. If you're ready to get started with Jamf, feel free to scan this QR code with your phone, or you can simply email us for more information to schedule a demo. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to us at jamf.com. Thanks for joining.